Indian History, page 1. What is history? The study of the past is called history. The English word history is derived from Greek word historia, meaning research, inquiry, or investigation. The Greek historian Herodotus, 484 BC to 425 BC, which is his lifespan, was the first real historian of the world. So, who is the first real historian of the world? He is Herodotus. He wrote only one book, the Histories, in 430 BC. The Histories describes the background and events of the Greco Persian Greek Iranian wars. It was the Roman philosopher Cicero, 106 BC to 43 BC, who first of all called Herodotus the father of history. So, who is the father of history? It's Herodotus. The German historian Leopold von Ranke, 1795 to 1886 AD, is known as the father of modern history. So, who is known as the father of modern history? It's Leopold von Ranke. According to Ranke, the task of a historian is to describe the past as it actually was. Y.S. Eigentlich gewesen. This is written in German and which is English translated to what it, that is the past, actually was. What the past actually was. The German philosopher and profounder of thesis, antithesis, synthesis theory, Hegel, 1770 to 1831 AD, once said, "History repeats itself." Later on, German economist and philosopher Karl Marx extended the line, "History repeats itself," first as tragedy, second as farce. According to British historian E. H. Carr, 1892 to 1982 AD, history is a continuous process of interaction between the historian and his facts, an unending dialogue between the present and the past. A system of dating. What is the system of dating? BC and AD. BC is the acronym of before Christ. Acronym means short form. So, the short form of before Christ is BC. This is an English phrase meaning before the birth of Jesus Christ. So, the year before the birth of Jesus Christ is known as before Christ and it is denoted as BC in short. Example: Gautam Buddha was born in 563 BC and died in 483 BC. Alexander the Great was born in 356 BC and died in 323 BC. Now, what is AD? AD is the acronym of Anno Domini. This is a Latin phrase meaning in the year of Lord Jesus Christ. So, the years beginning with the birth of Jesus Christ is known as Anno Domini and it is denoted as AD in short. Example: Jesus Christ was crucified in 30 AD. Kushana ruler Kanishk ascended the throne in 78 AD. Hazrat Muhammad was born in 570 AD and died in 632 AD. What is timeline? The line displaying the events of past time is called timeline. From the above mentioned timeline, it is clear that years before the birth of Christ are counted backwards. You can see in this timeline, in the center it is 0 and it is going in reverse from the left side and forward in the right side. From the above mentioned timeline, it is clear that years before the birth of Jesus Christ are counted backward. Example: 500 BC, then comes 5 BC, then comes 4 BC, then comes 3 BC, then 2 BC, then 1 BC. The meaning of 1 year before 1 BC is 2 BC. The meaning of 1 year before 2 BC is 3 BC. The meaning of 1 year before 3 BC is 4 BC. The meaning of 1 year before 4 BC is 5 BC. In other words, firstly, the year 5 BC passed. After that, 4 BC came. After that, 3 BC. After that, 2 BC. And lastly, 1 BC appeared. In the mathematical language, it is like backward counting. First comes 100, then comes 99, then comes 98, and so on. Now, if anyone raises a question that which year is the first one and which year is the last one in 500 BC and 2000 BC, then right answer will be 2000 BC is the first one and 500 BC is the last one. It means firstly 2000 BC passed and after that 500 BC appeared. From the above mentioned timeline, it is also clear that the years after the birth of Jesus Christ are counted forward. It implies that the meaning of 1 year after 1 AD is 2 AD. 1 year after 2 AD is 3 AD. 1 year after 3 AD is 4 AD. 1 year after 4 AD is 5 AD. In the mathematical language, it is like forward counting. First comes 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. Now, if anyone raises a question that which year is the first one and which year is the last one in 500 AD and 2000 AD, then right answer will be 500 AD is the first one and 2000 AD is the last one. It means firstly the year 500 AD passed and after that 2000 AD appeared. Time glossary. What is time glossary? The glossary related to time is known as time glossary. Some important terms associated with times are decade, which is also known as the period of 10 years. So decade means the period of 10 years. Quarter, which means 1/4 part. So if we talk about quarter of a century, then it is 25 years. 1/4. Century is 100 years and 1/4 of 100 is 25 years. First half of a century, that means first half of 100 years is 50 years. Second half, the first half of a century means the period from first year to the 50th year. Second half of a century means last 50 years of a century, that is the period from 51st year to 100th year. Century is known as the period of 100 years. Millennium, it is known as the period of 1000 years. Circa, if the exact date is not known, then the word circa is used with the date. In short, circa, CIRCA, is denoted as capital C small a or capital C. Example, C 1500 BC to 600 BC, the Vedic culture period, means that the exact date of Vedic culture period is not known, but it C 1500 BC to 600 BC is somewhere close to it. So it is estimated that the Vedic culture period is between 1500 BC to 600 BC. That is what the meaning of CIRCA. Then first decade of 20th century AD, the period from 1901 AD to 1910 AD. Then fifth decade of 20th century AD means the period from 1941 AD to 1950 AD. Eighth decade of 20th century AD means the period from 1971 AD to 1980 AD. Last decade of 20th century AD means the period from 1991 AD to 2000 AD. First, you need to know that if we talk about the 20th century, then this means that it is the period from 1900 to 1999. Sorry, it means that this is the period from 1901 to 2000. Now, first quarter of 20th century AD means the period from 1901 AD to 1925 AD.